and I'm going to be your facilitator for the next about 2.5 hours. I'm really excited um, for this call, and I'm hoping it's going to be a great meeting. Um, I would nominate Zita to introduce herself, and I'm going to be your facilitator for the next about 2.5 hours. I'm really excited um, for this call, and I'm hoping it's going to be a great meeting. Um, I would nominate Zita to introduce herself, and I'm going to be your
I'm sorry about that audio problems. My name is Zita Arslazak, and I am a team member of the Global Open Initiative Foundation. I will be facilitating a session, which is the introduction to Wikipedia and the Global Open Initiative Foundation. It's a pleasure to meet all of you, and the next person I would like to nominate is Kukwa. Please tell us your name and the institution you are representing and where you are located at the moment. So I'm located in Kaswa, Accra, Ghana.
Hi, my name is Kukwa. I'm part of the Building Early Accra project team, and I'm currently in the United Kingdom. And I will nominate Elton.
Hello, good morning. My name is Elton, and I'm part of Building Early Accra, and I'm at Accra, Ghana. I'll nominate Lloyd.
Hello, my name is Lois Kwoti, and I'm part of the Building Early Accra project. I'm currently in Ada, Ghana. I'll nominate Harriet.
Hello, everyone. My name is Harriet Bayo. I'm a member of the Global Open Initiative Foundation team, and I'll be facilitating the Wikidata session. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I'll nominate Jamila. Thank you.
Okay. Hello. If you can hear me, I think my audio had a problem.
Jamila, we can hear you.
Can
Please go
anyone
ahead.
hear me? Hello?
Yes, Jamila, we can hear
Hello,
you.
can anyone hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear.
My name is Jamila. Okay. Similar to Abdullah, and an ambassador for
Jamila, you're breaking up.
representing Navrongo Campus UDS. Now, with us and currently in Navrongo. I think
Jamila, your connection was not stable, so we couldn't really hear you. Would you like to disconnect and reconnect?
yeah, if I have to go over again, I'm Jamila, representing Navrongo Campus. I think I'll have to do that.
Could you please nominate the next person to speak? I think the last person that hasn't spoken is Britt. Oh, sorry, there's Akwesi also on the call. So, Britt, would you like to go next? Then Akwesi, you go next after Britt.
Yeah. Okay, so let me wait for Brett to finish.
Brett, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. I'm so sorry. Seems you might be having some microphone issues. Akwesi, could you please introduce yourself and would
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Akwesi Boache from the Pentecost University. I am a systems librarian. I was invited to this program.
Brett, can you try speaking and let's see if we can hear you. Nope. All right. Over to you, Ima.
Okay. Okay, so before we delve in, this is a brief and quick. Is Britt, are you trying to? Yeah, Britt, could you please introduce yourself? Okay, I guess we would have to continue. So, as I mentioned earlier, before we will delve in, I would like to do a brief walkthrough on our agenda. As I mentioned earlier, we have about 2.5 hours for this meeting, and we are going to begin with an introduction to Wikipedia and Wikimedia projects. This should take about 10 minutes. And then we are going to do a demonstration on how pages could be created on Wikipedia. That should take about 30 minutes. Then after that, we are going to have a brief introduction and also a demonstration on how to create items on Wikidata. And then the final session will be a networking session. So without much ado, we are going to move straight to the next item on the agenda. So the next item, as I mentioned earlier, will be an introduction to Wikipedia and Wikimedia projects, and this will be done by Zita. Zita, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Ima. Could you please project my slides for me?
Zita, I think your audio is really low. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
It's really low.
Is it audible now?
Yes, I think it's audible. You might want to check your side.
All right. So I was asking you, Ima, to project my slides from your end.
Yeah, sure.
Could you please go to the first slide? No, this is not it. Let me share. I shared the link with you on the Zoom chat page. Hello, Ima.
Yeah, let me just quickly send it to my email and then
Now I have shared it with you on the Zoom chat page.
Oh, okay, okay.
Have you seen it?
No, Chan, you can't have connected to my mom.
Great. If you can hear
can
me.
you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen. If you can hear me, kindly mute yourself. I have been trying to mute you from my end, but you keep on muting yourself. So please mute yourself if you're not the one speaking. All right. Good morning, everyone. Once again, and sorry for the, technical issues that we are facing at the moment. Once again, my name is Zita Eslazak, and I currently serve as the Executive Director of the Global Open Initiative Foundation, the Anglophone Regional Ambassador for Art and Feminism, and the Wikimedia Foundation Board Governance Facilitator. It's a pleasure to meet all of you on the call, and I would be giving you an introduction to Wikipedia and what we do at Global Open Initiative Foundation. Emma, can you please move to the next slide? So, about 2 years ago, two gentlemen and a lady came together, and each of these three people, each of them had backgrounds in statistics, computer science, and banking. And we each had, been in the in the open source movement for quite some time. And through our various involvements, we had the privilege to um, lead a lot of projects and learn so many things from our experiences. And so, as a result of that, we thought that we could share the privileges and the experiences that we have had with other young Ghanaians in order to help a lot of them that might be interested in volunteering their services to hone their skills in specific areas. And so we decided to come together to put together the Global Open Initiative Foundation. And so our mission as an organization is to help groom the skills and talents of Ghanaian youth through volunteerism by empowering them to lead and contribute to open source projects like Wikipedia. We provide a platform and opportunities for them to apply the knowledge they acquire from schools. We also equip them with skills, knowledge, and experiences that could be of so much benefit to them career-wise. We do what we do because the Ghanaian educational system, due to its impractical nature, has failed to prepare graduates for the job market. We believe that aside internships, there are so many benefits that students and graduates can gain from volunteering their services to a good cause. So this is how GOIF came about. And the lady that I've been talking about is me. I first discovered the open movement after I came across Wikipedia, and I was introduced to it, luckily, um, through two gentlemen, and we embarked on a project called Wiki Needs Girls, which was to train young females in editing and creating articles on Wikipedia. And ever since then, I've been contributing on various Wikimedia projects, and it has been a privilege for me leading all these projects and learning so much things. And I feel that what I've discovered with Wikipedia is valuable, and I just want to share this with other people. And that was why I joined forces with the other two gentlemen to create this organization. Next slide, Emma, please. So I know I've been talking about Wikimedia, Wikipedia. Some of you might be confused at the moment. Um, yes, but there's a foundation called Wikimedia Foundation. And this foundation is based in the US, and it's the foundation behind Wikipedia and its sister projects. Many of you have heard of Wikipedia, but I believe not many of you have heard of the organization, right? So there's a foundation behind Wikipedia, and it is made up of volunteers and the staff of the Wikimedia Foundation. And this foundation also hosts other platforms aside Wikipedia. Some of the platforms is Wikidata, Wikispecies, Wikimedia Commons, Wikiversity. So all these platforms, the main goal of all these platforms is to um, document the world around us and also to illustrate it. So with projects like Wikimedia Commons, it's a collection of images, media, and audio files, which illustrates the world around us. And Wikipedia is a collection of articles which talks about everything and notable things that you see around and hear about in other countries. Next slide, please. Sorry, Emma, go back to the first slide. So with this vision that the Wikimedia Foundation works with, which is to imagine a world in which every single human being can share in the sum of all human knowledge. What the Wikimedia Foundation seeks to do is to empower and train people and young people, especially across the world, to collect knowledge and to disseminate this knowledge under a free license so that it can be accessible to everyone across the globe. Next slide, please. So as part of today's presentation, we cannot talk about all the projects that is being hosted by Wikimedia Foundation, but we're going to be focusing on two major platforms, which is Wikipedia and Wikidata. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction to what Wikipedia is, the principles and guidelines behind Wikipedia, and how you can contribute to Wikipedia. So Wikipedia was established in 2001, and since then, I'm happy to tell you that today there are over 6 million articles on English Wikipedia alone, and we have over 60,000 global contributors. What that means is that we have contributors in different countries. We have contributors in the United States, the Europe, um, any country that you can think about. We have contributors in these countries who are contributing enormously to improving and creating information on Wikipedia. We also have Wikipedia in different languages. Currently, I think it's about over 304 languages. So it will interest you to know that there is Tree Wikipedia, there is Babani Wikipedia, there's Spanish Wikipedia, there's French Wikipedia, there's Portuguese, German, name it. All these languages have Wikipedias. So the main goal for having Wikipedia in different languages is to encourage the contribution of um, volunteers in the desired language, in the language that they prefer. Next slide, please. So I don't know if all of you on the call are aware that you can edit Wikipedia. Um, is anybody on the call aware that you can edit Wikipedia? If you are, please unmute yourself and let us hear you. Great. So I bring to you some great news. The articles that you have been reading on Wikipedia are articles that have been put there by volunteers like me, and possibly if you are going to also be a volunteer, you would also be part of us putting content out there. So that is to tell you that you can edit Wikipedia. You can edit the articles that you read on Wikipedia. If you are reading an article and you realize that there's a mistake somewhere, or the information that is on that article is not accurate, and you think that you have the accurate information, you can edit that information, and you need to provide reference to the source. Um, yeah, because Wikipedia articles um, depend heavily on resources, on references, actually. Next slide, please. So behind every community, I believe that there are principles and guidelines that brings this community together and help each of them to work towards the shared goal. So there are certain principles and guidelines that guide our work as Wikipedians. And in order for you to also become one of us, you need to know these principles and guidelines, and you need to adhere to these principles and guidelines so that whatever you contribute on the various platforms do not get deleted. Um, we value every single edit, but at the same time, we need to ensure that the information that we're putting out there is accurate and is not promotional, because our platform is to disseminate knowledge, not to sound promotional or controversial. So I'm going to be walking you through some of the principles and guidelines, which have been summarized into 5 major points. Um, we would share links to various resources where you can read more about these principles and guidelines. So the first principle is that Wikipedia is an encyclopedia. I don't know if all of you on the call are aware, but Wikipedia is not some promotional website. Although when you begin to edit on Wikipedia, you will have people approaching you, asking you to create articles about their organizations or create profiles for them on Wikipedia. And the reason they will do that is because Wikipedia is the fifth most visited website in the world. And I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever you do a Google search, the first link that should pops up is from Wikipedia. So many people would like to have profiles on Wikipedia in order to promote their work and to promote their organizations. But um, we do not um, we do not serve as a promotional website. Although when you have a profile or an article about your organization on Wikipedia, it tends to promote you in the sense that a lot of people get access to information about you and what you're doing. There are various ways to go about this, and as we talk about the other principles and guidelines, you will come to understand why it's not advisable to take money and create articles for people and their organizations. So yeah, if Wikipedia is not a promotional website, what is it actually? It's an encyclopedia, and an encyclopedia is basically um, a collection of information about buildings, notable people, notable um, ideologies, anything, any information that you think can go into an encyclopedia. Back in the days, there used to be these huge Encarta books in the libraries, where when you needed information about a particular country or somebody in a different country, all you need to do is visit the library and go through all those huge books, which were like thousands of pages. And so, due to the advancement in technology, now we have online encyclopedias. And Wikipedia is one of the biggest online encyclopedias in the world. The second point is Wikipedia is written from a neutral point of view. This, talks a little more about my point about we not being a promotional website. So you would notice that most of the articles on Wikipedia, the tone in which they were written is neutral. And by neutral, what I mean is that you do not sound objective or um, you don't sound subjective or in favor of what you're writing about, or you don't sound like you are not in favor of what you're writing about. You need to present the information as it is, and do not try to add, more adjectives to try to sound as if you are against the person or what you're writing about. The third point is Wikipedia is free content that anyone can use, edit, and distribute. Now, whatever you contribute on Wikipedia, Wikidata, or any of the Wikimedia platforms is released under a license called CC by SA. And CC by SA actually means that anybody can use, share, and distribute the content that you have put on these various platforms. So if you do not want anybody to tamper with the information that you provide on the various platforms, then I'm sorry to tell you that Wikipedia is not the platform to release your content. The fifth point is Wikipedia's editors should treat each other with respect and civility. Now, when you have a community made up of editors from different backgrounds, with different, cultures and beliefs, there is bound to there are agreements that are bound to happen. Sorry, disagreements that are bound to happen. In the sense that the information that you might put out there, somebody might um, argue that that information is not correct, or um, somebody might also put an information about Ghana or something in Ghana that you think is not correct because you are a citizen in Ghana and you actually know the situation. So you might want to correct that person, but you need to correct that person in a more civil and respectful manner so that you don't discourage other people or, cause a fight. Because at the end of the day, we are all seeking to accomplish the same thing, which is to put information and quality content out there so that it could be useful to a lot of people. The fifth point is Wikipedia has no firm rules. Yeah, I said there are principles and guidelines behind contributing on Wikipedia and the various platforms, and I've just summarized the principles and guidelines in 5 points for you. But I would like to also tell you that there are no firm rules to editing Wikipedia. These principles and guidelines were put together by the community, and I mean the Wikimedia community, and these principles can be revised continually as as we know that the world is not stagnant, things change over time. So these principles and guidelines are bound to change as well. Next slide, please. So yeah, so I just wanted to re-emphasize on some of the principles and guidelines that we've already spoken about. So the summary of the principles and guidelines is called the 5 pillars of Wikipedia by the Wiki community. And so if just this is just something for you to be able to picture and remember when you're editing on Wikipedia. First, you need to stay neutral. Second, you need to ensure that every vital information that you provide on Wikipedia is backed with references, and I mean reliable sources. Everything I'm talking about, Ima will be demonstrating it in the demonstration section. So if everything sounds abstract, please hold on for the demonstration section. You don't need to sound promotional, and you need to ensure that whatever you're writing about is notable and there are reliable sources out there to back the claims that you put on Wikipedia about whatever person or thing that you're writing about on Wikipedia. Next slide, please. So why should you get involved in contributing content on Wikipedia? So ever since I discovered Wikipedia, there are so many things that I have gained by participating on Wikipedia. I have improved my research skills. I have learned so much. It makes me read a lot because the wiki community is made up of very knowledgeable people that love to acquire knowledge and to share the knowledge with others. And it's also social in the sense that you get to collaborate with editors from across the globe. And to contribute actually is to gain in the sense that a lot of people get access to your work, what you're interested in. If you're a researcher and you're collecting information about architectural buildings in Ghana, uh, providing information about all the buildings that you have discovered on Wikipedia, makes it accessible for a lot of people across the globe. And again, you can correct other people on the spot without asking their permission. You can also learn to write in a neutral point of view, which is a useful intellectual exercise. In general, you learn to improve your writing skills. And aside that, there are various, things that you can do because volunteers, contribute in different things. So we have developers that contribute to building tools and the software that Wikipedia runs on. We also have event organizers like my organization that focuses on training and recruiting new editors on the various platforms. You can also be on Wikipedia just to, share your collections or the data that you have, collected as a researcher. There are so many things that you can achieve or discover by being a member of the community. So as I can't, talk about everything, but these are things that you come to discover as you continue to participate in wiki activities. Next slide, please. Yeah, so there are regional and international conferences and competitions that the wiki community organizes. We have Wiki in Daba, which is more of like the meetup for African Wikimedians. In 2017, Ghana happened to be the country that hosted Wiki in Daba, and I was privileged to be a part of the organizing team. And there is also, I think, we were supposed to hold one in 2020 in Uganda, but due to COVID, it was postponed. I hear this year is going to be virtual, and this will give a lot of people the opportunity to attend. We also have the international conference, which is Wikimania, and this is the gathering of all Wikipedians across the globe. And the recent one was in 2019, and it happened in Sweden. And I had the opportunity to attend that one as well. And some members of my team also had the opportunity to attend. So these are some of, the conferences and gatherings that we Wikipedians get a chance to attend as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, so I've been blabbering for God knows the past 10 minutes or 5. I'd like to break here and take some questions. Wow, no questions.
There's a question.
Okay.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
So I am just surprised about this the rules concerning the editing. Can you hear me?
Yes, Britt. Is there something that you are specifically surprised about?
Yes. I was thinking that whatever is put on Wikipedia, that's the final listing. But through your explanation, I got to know that it is editable. So if you can explain more to my understanding.
Yes, thank you, Britt. Before I answer your question, could you please introduce yourself? Let us know which institution you're representing. And is your name actually
Okay,
Britt?
my name is Ibrahim. No, it's the computer that I'm using. So I was surprised. I was checking to see my name, not knowing that it is written Britt. So sorry for that. So my name is Ibrahim Abdel Fattah.
Okay.
I'm from the northern region, precisely Dalong in the Kumbongo district. I am the manager for Dalong Community Library.
Okay. Thank you for joining. So that was a good question. Yes. So any article or work that you see on Wikipedia is a work in progress. In a sense that editors continue to contribute to it and they continue to edit it for mistakes and all that. So yes, when you publish your first article on Wikipedia, it's not final. There is going to be some review and editing. So for new editors, what happens is that when you create your first article, it goes into a space, the draft space. And in the draft space, we have Wikipedians. There are different roles for Wikipedians. We have patrollers, we have reviewers. So patrollers are the editors that view new articles from new editors to ensure that they meet the principles and guidelines and to ensure that there are no, grammar errors or spelling errors, or to ensure that the information that you're putting there is accurate. Then after patrollers, go through all these basic edits, they mark the article to move to the next stage, which is the final review. And that is done by more experienced editors. And once it is reviewed, it goes live for everyone in the world to see. Does that answer your question, Ibrahim?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So not many people are aware of
I'm grateful.
This whole process, especially academics. Academics think that because everybody is invited to be a contributor on Wikipedia, they are concerned that the information that might be put on Wikipedia is not accurate. But what they don't know is that there's a whole lot of review and editing that goes behind the scenes before an article is made live.
So with the explanation of patrollers, if I hear you well, you said they view new articles.
They review
and then pass it
articles.
on new articles.
Yes.
And then pass it on to the final review. And the final review, they are the more experienced editors.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have you edited or created an article on Wikipedia before?
No, please.
Okay. Today you would have an experience to do so. So I hope you enjoy. All right. I think
yes.
If there are no more questions for me, I would like to hand the floor over to Ima.
Okay, thank you very much, Zita, for that wonderful presentation. Next on the agenda is a demonstration of how you can actually create a Wikipedia article, and this will be handled by me. So this is going to be practical, as in we are all going to be involved in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a list of names. Zita, Harriet, how do you think we should go about the distribution of the names? Can you guys hear me?
You can just type that.
I post the names and then everybody picks one.
Yes, I think that is.
Okay, cool. All right.
So everybody will comment in the chat which article they would like to work on. Or they can just, I'm going to create a Word document and everybody can just add it in the Word document.
As in a live Word document, so everybody can just type their names right next to
could you please just paste the list in the chat.
Okay.
And Harriet, kindly create a Word document and share it in the chat so that everyone can add their username, their username, and then the article that they are working on. So everyone, there's a list of articles that we'll be working on today. Kindly check the chat page and pick a name that you would like to work on. Harriet will share a Word document. So you add your name and then the name of the article that you'll be working on in the Word document. Yes, Kuku, working on So whatever Ima would be doing with regards to demonstration, you would also be doing that on your end. So it's more like we are taking you through an article creation process on Wikipedia. So whatever he's doing, you'd be applying that on your end. All right, can we include another column for name? So name, username, article. All right, so has everybody gotten an article to work on?
So
if you're using a phone, then you would not be able to participate, but you can, the recorded session will be live on our YouTube channel. We can share a link to this session so that you can practice later.
Okay, I think participants on the call are making their choices through the chat. So I think that works. So we could just proceed from here.
We need to ensure that everybody has taken, a name, has picked a name. There's only 3 people or 4 people that have done so. Okay, see, you cannot write about yourself on Wikipedia. So we have provided a list of articles that you need to pick from in the chat.
Okay.
I'm going to share my screen so that you see what Harriet is doing. So we are compiling those who have picked the articles already. You can also just directly add your name and then the article that you're working on in this Google Doc.
Has the link been shared?
Yes, the link has been shared on the Zoom chat page. All right, so Ima, I think you can begin. Is there anybody on the call who hasn't been able to pick an article? I think, yeah, we're good to go.
Rashid. Okay. I think Kwacho was trying to type Akwesi Boateng.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I haven't taken an article because I'm using a phone. So
okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine.
Ima, you can begin.
Yeah. Can you stop sharing your screen?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this session we are going to create articles on members of parliament. As Zita mentioned earlier, before an article could be.
Ima, there seems to be some, breakages or noise from your end.
Sorry. Is it better now? Can you guys hear me?
When you speak, it comes. I don't know why.
I don't get you. As in, you can hear me.
Okay, now it's better.
Okay. Okay. So, as Zita mentioned earlier, before you can actually create an article on a person or an entity, that entity must be notable, and Wikipedia has a notability guideline that you can actually follow to know if somebody is notable or an entity merits a Wikipedia page. So we are going to create pages on members of parliament. Members of parliament are notable in the category of politicians if the person is a member of parliament as part of the guidelines or rules. Such a person can have a page on Wikipedia. So the list I put in the Zoom chat are actually members of parliament that won election, the general election during the 2020 December elections. So I'm just going to begin on how an article could be created on Wikipedia. So first of all, you'd want to do a Google search on the name. As Ita mentioned earlier, the Wikipedia as a site is one of the sites that usually pops up when you search for anything on Google. And so usually the chances are, if the page is already on Wikipedia, it's going to actually pop up when you search for the name on Google. So first of all, you try to search the name. So I'm going to search for the name I'll be working on, and then you guys will search for the names you chose to work on. So we can ascertain if the person is on Google or not. I'm sorry, on Wikipedia or not. So as you can see on my screen, I'm trying to scroll down to see if I could find a Wikipedia page for the person. The only Wikipedia page I can see here is a list of members of parliament elected in 2020 in the Ghanaian general election. So chances are there is no Wikipedia page for the person. However, we would still want to be sure. So what you do is you go to you open another tab, and then you try to type wikipedia.org if you don't have Wikipedia bookmarked. So what you do is you type wikipedia.org, and then you yeah.
Yeah, Kwesi, I wanted to confirm, have you gotten a name to work on?
Yeah, I think Akwesi mentioned that he wasn't using his laptop.
Okay, so you could assign me one that has not been assigned, because I took Akwesi Boating.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Rashid is working on it. So
Is anybody working on Adelaide? Okay, yeah, Adelaide has been taken. George Techi. Yeah, so okay, so you can work on George Techi.
All right, thanks.
Okay,
yeah, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Zita. So what you do here, if you actually have the screen now, is you type the name in the search bar. So I'm going to type the name of the person I'm going to work on, Patrick Bannon. Then you search. So these are the various options that come up. Patrick Bamford, Robert Patrick. So apparently there is no Patrick Bannon. What happens is that sometimes there might be a Patrick Bannon page, but the name of the page may not, yeah.
Most of them do not have accounts on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'd have to begin by creating accounts first. Okay. Let me go back. So okay, so I think when you try editing, you can actually create the accounts from there, right? Okay, so guys, if you're actually following me, on your page, there is an option for you to create an account. It should be where my mouse is now. I don't know if there is anything like that there. Any of you could let me know. So you can actually create an account before you begin editing.
Would anybody like to share their screen so that
okay, then let me stop sharing my screen.
Harriet,
hello,
would you like
everyone?
go ahead.
Yeah, so creating an account with Wikipedia, it's very easy. It's just like creating a Gmail account. So I first logged on to, I first visited Wikipedia, that's en.wikipedia.org, and EN stands for English Wikipedia. And after going onto that page, you find on your right hand, the top right hand side of the page, login, create an account. So what we do is you're going to click on create an account. And the username is just what you want to be known as on Wikipedia. So you might choose to use a guy name or any name that you want to be known with. You're going to enter that here. I am known as Mentoro on Wikipedia, but I'm Harriet Bayo in real life. So you enter the name you want to use here, and you enter your password. After that, you are going to confirm your password that you use in the first instance. And the last thing you are doing is entering your email address. So this is where information can be sent to you. After entering your email address, you're going to type the text you see here, just to make sure you're not a bot or something. After entering the text you see in the box, then you click on create your account. And that's how to create an account on Wikipedia. I don't know if anyone has a question or is facing any problem, you could let me know. And it's important that someone might be asking, why do you want us to create an account? For some reasons of maybe someone having a malicious idea, or just to create an edit that might not be true or credible. Some people do not create an account and then they just use their IP address. So to make it much more credible and easier, it's important that you create an account on Wikipedia.
Wikipedia does not oblige you. It's not compulsory for you to create an account on, Wikipedia. It's without creating an account. Your edits would not be associated to a name, but to an IP address. And it's been discovered that most edits that are made using only IP addresses tend to be vandalism, in the sense that they either try to cause distractions on articles on Wikipedia. So if you do not want your article to be considered as such, if you do not want your edit to be considered as such, it's advisable to create an account on Wikipedia. So if you succeeded in creating an account, voila, welcome to Wikipedia. Please log in and let's start editing together.
And guys, please let us know if you've been successful with creating an account.
All those who have been successful, please send your usernames to the chat so that we can add you to the dashboard. Akwesi, you said you're done. Could you please send your username so that, thank you. Please remember your Wikipedia passwords so that you'd be able to log in each time you want to create articles or edit. Okay, thank you, Akwesi and Kukwa, for sending your usernames. Thank you, Brit. I'm sorry, Brit. I keep Ibrahim. I keep calling you Brit. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Lois and Elton, have you been able to create your user account?
I'm still trying to do that.
Okay. Should we give you a minute, or we should go on and you catch up? Okay. Elton says he's using a phone.
I think we can go on. I'll catch up.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so after creating your account, you try to search the name you are trying to work on via the search bar to be sure if the name is already on Wikipedia or not. So for my politician, I can't find his name here. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes there might be a page for the person. However, the naming might be different. For instance, if Patrick had a middle name like maybe a Japan, so say his name was Patrick Japan Bano, there might be a page with the name P.A. Bano or Patrick A. Bano. For that reason, if you try to search for Patrick Bano, you may not be able to find the name. So what I usually advise is you try to exhaust all the possible combinations if you know the person's other names, so you can be sure if the person already exists on Wikipedia or not. So over here, the person doesn't exist on Wikipedia. So there are various ways of creating a page. And one of them is after searching for the name, if the page doesn't exist, you see a message like this. You may create the page Patrick Panel, but consider checking the search results below to see whether the topic is already covered. So as you can see, the topic is not covered, and so the name appears in a red link. So you could click on this, and then when you do that, it sends you straight to a page where you can actually begin editing. If you are new on Wikipedia, you might not see this page. You may see something like this. I don't know if anybody is following and anybody could confirm that he or she has seen anything like this. The person could let me know. Has anybody seen any page?
Hi, Emmanuel. Can you take that again from how you get the option to create a page?
Okay, so
after searching, yeah.
Okay, so you try to search the name. So I'm going back. So when you type wikipedia.org, you're supposed to see a screen like this. So what you do is you try to type the name in the search bar. So mine is Patrick Bano. So you type yours, and then, you click on the search. And this is what you are going to see next. So if the person doesn't have a page, usually what you try to do is you try to search if the page exists. So you try to go to the available names being presented. And if the name is not there, you are going to see the name in a red link like this. I don't know if you have something like that on your screen. You could let me know.
So what it says on my screen is the page does not exist, but you can ask for it to be created. It doesn't say that I can create it.
Oh, okay. Is the name in a red link?
It is in a red link.
Okay, so you could click on the red link.
Hold on, Kuku, are you logged in?
Yeah, I'm logged in.
Okay.
Okay, it's taken me to the article you're looking for doesn't exist. You can create it, but before you create an article, read this guide, etc, etc.
Okay, so there is no page like this.
No, it doesn't look like
Do you
this.
see a link to article, Wikipedia article wizard?
So where I am, I can just share my screen.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Let me stop sharing my screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is where I go when I click the red link
but
name.
I have that page. That is,
Yeah, Akwesi, hold that page. So, Kukua, do you see article wizard?
Yeah, so is that what I should click on?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Akusi, were you trying to say something? I think you are breaking.
I think he was trying to say that he has the page. So,
yeah, I was saying that I had.
Oh, okay. So if you are on this page right now, what you do is
Yeah.
Okay. So what you do is you click on next, and then you're going to see this page. So right here, they just want to be sure if what you're about to, the page you're about to create is going to be well referenced and the person is notable. And if you are sure about that, you click on next. And then this is the page you are going to see next. So over here, they just want to be sure if there are no way connected to the person you are going to create the page for. And if the person hasn't paid you to create the page. So if that is not the case, or those are not the cases, then you click I'm not connected to the subject. So after that, this is the page you're going to see. So what you do is you type the name again of the person you're going to work on. So I'm going to type the name here. So you type the name you are going to work on. The search, the bar here. And then you click on create new article draft. Okay, so after that, this is what you're going to see here. So the reason why this happens is that because you guys are new on Wikipedia, whatever you're going to create is going to be in the drafts. And what happens is that editors are going to go through what you created, and then they are going to push it to the main page. What I wanted to do was create my page in the main page space. So you guys will be on this page, all right? But then
sorry, Emmanuel, sorry to cut in. Please, could you take the next step after we clicked on the article wizard?
Oh, okay. So you click on next.
Okay.
Is there anything like that?
Yeah, I see next, and I see practice in your personal sandbox.
Yeah, so you click on next.
Okay, then I see a page which says referencing and notability. I should click next
so you
again.
click on next, yeah.
Okay.
And then you click on I am not connected to the subject.
Okay, okay. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Now I'm on the same page as you are.
Okay, so you type the name in the search bar and then click on create new article draft.
Okay.
Okay, so can you confirm that you are on this page?
It says switch to the user editor or start editing, like a pop-up. Welcome to Wikipedia.
Okay, just click on start editing.
Okay, okay, sure. Then so, I see something on instructions. Okay, yeah, then I see what you're showing. Yeah.
Okay, so you can see my page now.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we want you guys to use the visual editor because it's easier. So what you do is, I don't know if you can see the pencil icon, the top right corner of the blank page. It's not really blank. I don't know if anybody can see the pencil icon. Just click on the drop down arrow, and then you click on visual editing. Okay, so you can close the instructions pop-up. Okay, is everybody on my screen now? I don't know if you guys can hear me. I just wanted to confirm if you guys are where I am now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you could open another tab. I don't know whether you have actually searched the name on Google yet. You could open another tab and search for the name on Google. That is where we are going to find out who the person we want to write about is. So if you could do that, that's where we are going to gather our resources. So as you can see, yeah.
It seems Henry's hand is up.
Oh, okay. Henry.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
good
please,
morning.
you can. Good morning.
Yes, I wasn't aware of the meeting, and currently I'm in town. Is it being recorded so that after that we have access so we can practice it on our own?
Yeah, sure. The meeting is being recorded.
Oh, okay.
So a link will be sent.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome.
And Mohammed just sent a message saying that he has created some number of articles, so he can't find the draft.
Oh, okay.
Mohammed,
So you can. Okay. You tell me something.
Yeah, Mohammed, this is newbies are the ones who would see the draft. So if you've created a number of articles on Wikipedia, that means you will not see your articles will not be pushed to draft when you create them. So this session is for people who Ima, are you still on the call?
Yeah, I'm on the call. Yeah, so if you search for the name on Google, you're going to get information on who the person is and what the person does. So on my screen, there's information on the person on Facebook. It's good that Facebook popped up. So one thing we would want you guys to know is Wikipedia doesn't take sources from social media outlets like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the others. And this is because information over there could be manipulated or put in there by anybody, and we can't be sure of the source. Doesn't necessarily mean information on social media is always wrong, but because you can't be sure of the source, it is not advisable to use social media outlets for your sources. But we are going to get there. So on my screen, there is this website that I would want us to use. I don't know if anybody can see Parliament of Ghana on their screen. If you can't, you can just scroll down. I'm sure you'll find something like that. Please let me know if you are unable to see anything like that, so I can see how it could help. Okay, so let me just proceed. I'm guessing everybody can see that. Okay, so if you open the Parliament of Ghana page, you're going to get ample information on the person on that page. So over here, we have information on where he serves as a member of parliament, his hometown, his political party, his educational background, where he was born, and even where he works. So we are going to use this information. So first of all, we would want to talk about who Patrick Bano is. This time we are writing an introduction, so we want to write something brief. However, whatever we are going to put in there somehow encapsulates whatever we are going to talk about later about Patrick Bano. So we could begin by saying Patrick Bano is a Ghanaian parliamentarian, or a Ghanaian politician. So I'm going to begin. Patrick Bano, Ghanaian also from the page over here, we find out that he was a general manager. So we could just say he was also an administrator, something of the sort. So Patrick Bano is a Ghanaian politician and an administrator. So usually when you type the person's name for the first time, you have to embolden it. So this is how you embolden the name. We highlight the entire name, and then we click on this icon, style text, and then you click on bold. So after that, we just want to talk about who he is as a politician. He's a parliamentarian, right? So we could just say, because these guys we are working on were elected in 2020, they entered office on 7th January 2021. So we could just type where they serve as members of parliament and for how long. So we could just type something like he has been the member of parliament for so and so constituency since 7th January 2021. So this is how, so I'm just going to type it here. He has been the member of parliament for the, so I'm just trying to check his constituency here. Is Tiffy North for the Tiffy North constituency. Since 7th January 2021. So this is an okay introduction. So from here, we could just move straight to the body. So we'd want to talk about his early formative life. So we could just create another heading. That will talk about maybe his early life and his education. So what you do is, if you want to create another heading, you just click on enter, and then you click on paragraph, and then you click on heading. So this is what you are going to see on your screen. So you just type early life and education. So over here, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about, sorry, let me correct this. We are going to talk about his early life and his educational background. So whatever we are going to do here would have to have something to do with probably where he was born, when he was born, and also where he schooled. So fortunately, we have information on that here. It says that he was born in Kenya, number 2, and he was born on Friday, 13th June 1975. So we could just begin by saying, so after you have typed the full name for the introduction, you don't have to type the entire name again. You could just continue with the surname. So over here, I'm going to just type Bano. Bano was born on Friday, 13th June 1975.
Emma, your heading is missing life.
I can't hear you, sorry. I can't hear you.
Early life and education. It's missing a life.
Yeah, life. Sorry about that. Thank you very much for that, teacher. So was born on Friday, 13th June 1975 at Kenya's number 2. And then we talk about his education. So over here we have, unfortunately, we don't have information on where he schooled, but we have information on his various certificates and when he obtained them. So we could talk about that as well. So we could say he obtained his basic BC, basic education certificate, right, in 1991, and his secondary school certificate in 1994. So we could just type something like that. So he obtained his basic education certificate in 1991, and his secondary certificate in 1994. So next is his university degree. I wouldn't want to repeat obtained. So over here, I could say something like he was awarded his Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Arts degree in Sociology and Social Work in 2009. So you could have something like that. He was awarded his Bachelor of Arts social and social work in 2009. Or you could begin with in 2009 he was awarded his so certificate or degree. So I think that is as much information we could get on his early life and education. So next, I would want to talk about his career. That is where he worked. And I would want to match that with his and with information on his political career as well, because I feel like there is not a lot of information on his career. It's just this. And so we could just merge that with his experiences in politics. So as I mentioned earlier, your next heading, you click on enter, and then you click paragraph and heading. And then you type career and politics. So over here, you would want to talk about where he worked or where he worked and his political career as well. Maybe aside being a member of parliament, he probably was occupied a political position. Maybe he was a district executive, something like that. If information like that exists, we could put that here, and then we'll add the fact that he's a member of parliament as well. So from here, his career, the career information here, which is employment, says he was the general manager of this company. So Suffolk Company Limited. So we could say something like, prior to entering politics, he was the general manager of Suffolk Company Limited. Prior to entering he was the general manager of staff. Company. Let me check if my spelling is okay. That's it. Software company limited. So that's the only information we could gather on his career. So we could just move on to politics. So over here, I wouldn't want us to use only the Parliament of Ghana page. So you could open another tab and then you type the name again, the name of the person you're looking for, just to be sure if you could get some information. Because over here, we want to talk about maybe what happened during the primaries, if there is information on that. And we could also talk about what happened during the election as well. So over here we have let me see. So this may not pertain to everybody, as in not everybody would be lucky to have such information. But if you are lucky to get it, you can just put it in there. So over here, there is 2020 MPP parliamentary primary. So we could just open this page. Okay. So over here, there is information on who contested who during the primaries and those who went unopposed. So over here, we know he contested with Ivan Sopoku-Bobie during the 2020 MPP primaries. So we could just add that. So the reason why I'm opening new tabs is because we would want to use the links of those pages that we opened and gathered information from to reference the information we put in there. So that's the reason why I'm opening new tabs. So it will be easier for us to get back to those pages and get references for the work we are doing. So
if you also want, whenever you finish writing a sentence or a paragraph, you could just add a reference before you move to the next thing.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to proceed with the primary information on the primary. So during the 2020 MPP Bano contested. So he contested for the Esutifi North seat. Esutifi North seat with. So he contested the seat with Evans Opoku-Bobie. I don't know if I could copy this just to make things faster. Okay. I also forgot to mention. So sometimes you might get information on the person in an article, like in a biography form, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have to lift everything and come and paste it on Wikipedia. Due to copyright rules, you would have to make sure everything is in your own wording, so that anybody else reading your Wikipedia, a page you created on Wikipedia, could actually use that information for any other thing. So that's just by the way. So you contested a seat with Evans. I could use against here. I don't think with send the message across. So against Evans Ukukububi. I think this works. And 1. Okay. So this is information on the primaries. So we would have to open a new tab here and type for the name again, because we want to talk about what happened during the election as well. So I'm going to scroll down to see if I can get information on that. Okay. I think there's something like that here. Election Data Center, final report. Okay, so there's information on the number of votes he was able to amass during the election. Okay, there it is over here. So we are going to use this information as well. So we're going to and through this page. So to talk about, as I mentioned, the 2020 election. So during the 2020 Ghanaian general election, Bano contested for the seat with, then we mention the names. So Bano contested for the Isu Tifi North seat with. So we go here. So we could just copy the name here for just a bit time of the NDC and Kofi and Anane GUM. Then we talk about the number of votes they were able to poll during the election as well. So I just want to copy this. So we could just say he polled this number of votes and representing this. Let me just this percentage. So it will be something like this. He polled votes representing 52.62% of the total valid votes cast against. So we contested against these other guys. So we are going to also to mention their number of votes as well. So against Adus votes and Ananes Is it 116? Yeah, 116 votes. Votes. Okay. Representing on 47 and 05 and 0.33. 47.05%, 0.33%. Respectively. The total value of all okay, so from here, you could add information on the parliamentarian's personal life. That is if maybe the person is married to somebody and the person, like there is information on that on the internet, so on a verifiable source, we could use that. And maybe if the person has children as well, maybe the person's hobbies, anything that has to do with the person's personal life, if you have information on that, we put that also on Wikipedia. Unfortunately, we don't have anything like that for mine, so I could just skip that, and then we'll go to the next subheading, which will be references, because we are going to add references and they'll be arranged. So we need a heading, so they'll all be arranged beneath the heading. So references. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we were maintaining the pages because we were going to use the links for references. So this is how we link a reference. We copy the link over here. So you could just highlight the whole thing and then you copy. And then you go to the page. And every information that you got from that page that you put on the page you created on Wikipedia for the person, you're going to add a reference just to verify the information. So we will go to gather information on the fact that he was a member of parliament for Isutifi North constituency. From the page I just copied the link from, as you can see, the information is here, MP for Isutifi North. So we could just put that here. So what you do is place the cursor right next to the punctuation that sort of ends, breaks up the information. It could be a comma, it could be a full stop, but make sure the cursor is right after it. And then you click on Cite over here. And this is what you are going to see when you click on Cite. So after that, you just paste the reference here, and then you click on Generate. After everything has been done, you are going to have to click Insert to the final title. So this is how you reference. Now, because we used a lot of information from this particular reference, we are going to use the same reference for on the page for other information we put in there. For example, we got information on where he was born and when he was born from that particular link or that particular page. So with information like this, you put the cursor right next to that information after the punctuation, and then you click on cite. Now, because we have used the reference already, what we are going to do is we go to reuse, and then we click on that same reference. So it's going to reference as one, just as this. Now, if we decided to paste the same link in the automatic search bar, it was going to come as 2. Meanwhile, it's the same reference. So it's advisable you use the reuse option. So over here, we got information on his educational background from that same site. So we are going to have to reuse again. So when you open, after your first reuse pops up automatically again. So just click on that. And over here too, you have to use the same link as well.
Eva, it's better to reference the whole paragraph since all the sentences of information was cut from that page instead of referencing each sentence.
Like for the entire...
Yes, the entire paragraph information was acquired from that page. So you reference
sure.
Instead of referencing each sentence.
Okay. So you want me to delete this one?
No, leave it. You have 5 minutes. I'm just telling you so that you know.
Okay, I actually did this once, but an administrator actually told me it was better to try to reference each and every, rather than clumping everything. Okay, so over here we have information on his political career. We couldn't get everything on that page, but we got information on his career on that page, so we could reuse that reference as well over here. Okay, so over here we got information from this page, the primary page. So we copy the link I mentioned earlier, and then we follow the same procedure. At this time, because it's a different link, we have to be careful because we are going to be taken back to the reuse page. So we have to go back to automatic, and then we paste the link there, and then we generate. And then you click insert. Then information over here was also gotten from this page. So you are going to have to copy this page, the link here. We go back to the page as I taught you guys earlier. Here's the cursor right next to the punctuation, and then you click on site, paste, and then you generate. Okay, then you insert. Now the final thing we are going to do is we are going to add links to the information we put in here, because sometimes there's information here that somebody may want more information on. So if we linked some of the words, some nouns or some phrases, the person could easily, open that page and then find more information on that. For example, if I'm from the States and I'm reading about Patrick Bano and I want more information on Esitifin North constituency, I wouldn't have to go and search for Esitifin North constituency. I could just open the link and then I find information on Esitifin North constituency. So this is how you create a link. You highlight the name or the phrase. So I'm highlighting Esitifin North here, and then you click on this. This is a link. When you click on this, you are going to find. So over here we have two options. That is district and parliament constituency. But we are talking about the constituency, so we don't have to use district. You have to use this. So you have to be careful about that as well. Now, there may be information on Kenya's note number 2. I don't know, but I would want to try that. So we could check over here. Click link. Okay, there's nothing like that. So if this is the case, you just click on close. Okay.
There might be information about Kenyasi.
Okay, let me try Kenyasi. Okay. Actually, we have information here. So what you do is you click on Kenyasi here. And then it turns blue. Okay. Somebody might want information on maybe sociology and social work. So you could also try that as well. Okay, there is no information. I'm sure there's information on sociology alone, social work, but I would want the entire thing. So I would leave that there. And then over here, because MPP might mean anything anywhere, and somebody might want to know exactly what MPP is in this context. So we would have to link this one as well. So you click on link as I told you guys earlier. And this time you'd have to type the entire name. So national.
You've consumed all your time.
Okay. Zita, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was saying that your time is up, so you would have to wrap up.
Okay. So I think I can end here. I think I've, the basic information has been sent, so I think I can end here. Okay, let me just publish, and then we could work on that later. So when you are done with everything, what you do is you click on publish here, and then over here you want to summarize what you did. So you created a new page, and then you publish page. So the page is going to look something like this. Okay, so let me stop sharing the screen. I don't know if you could go on the break. Because of time, I guess we would have to just move fast. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is a brief introduction.
Sorry to cut in here. At this point, does anybody have any questions? Were you able to create an article? Was anybody successful in creating an article?
Yeah, I've created it, but when I click on publish page, the pop-up is asking something about describe what you changed and then review changes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so you need to type in the edit box, you created a new page. Can you see a text space provided?
Yeah, it says describe what you changed. So I should write created a new page there.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you, Emma, for demonstrating how to create an article. You can add more information and more references to your article, but time will not permit us to, create a fully fledged article. We hope that whatever if you've succeeded, kindly share a link to your article on the chat page and we'll review it and ensure that it is published and made live. On that note, if there are no more questions about Wikipedia, I would like to hand over. I think the next is we're going on a short break, about 5 minutes. Please take time to go and grab some coffee or tea or do whatever you need to do. And so we'll be back around 12:09 to go through a Wikidata training session. But some of us, we the facilitators, will be online during that 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, we will be available to assist.
Hello, Zita.
Yes, Lois.
Yeah, so I've been able to publish the page, but then it still shows like the draft in the title. Is that how it's supposed to be, or I missed something?
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah, Ima, you didn't demonstrate how to add categories to articles. So if you would like to continue with that during the break session, over to you.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay, so usually the reason why we try to add categories to pages is because there is a lot of information on Wikipedia, and sometimes you need categories to sort of categorize the information, because somebody might be looking for maybe Ghanaian politicians, and the person wouldn't have to like be searching through every name. Just going through the categories alone will help you. Maybe if you go to the category for parliamentarian with Ghanaian, you just find it, or any other category. So this is how your page looks like after you've published it. So your categories are supposed to appear in this bar. If you want to add a category, what you do is you click on this, which is add a new category, and then you type the category. So after creating the page,
New editors might not see the plus sign.
oh yeah. So usually if you want to add the category thing on your page, you go to preferences. Okay. And then go to editing.
It's under gadgets.
Okay, it's under gadgets rather. My bad. So over here, you have to check this option here. Hotcut, easily add, remove, and change stories on a page. Same with name suggestions. So you just check and then you save. So if you've been able to do that, you can actually see that bar I was talking about beneath the page on your screen. So you click on add a new category here, and
enabling hotcuts, you would have to refresh your page in order to be able to see it.
Okay. So if you've been able to refresh your page, yeah, you're going to see something like this. So you click on this plus symbol, and then you type, after creating the page, you get to know who you talked about. So there are various categories that the person could belong to. So one of them is the fact that he's a Ghanaian politician, and there is a category for Ghanaian politicians. So when you type Ghanaian politicians, you're going to have options here. Okay, so there's Ghanaian politicians here, there's Ghanaian political people. So you could just choose one, and then you click on OK. And then your page is going to automatically refresh. Then after that, you're going to see that reflect over here. So there you go, Ghanaian politicians. If you want to add another one, you just click on this, and then you go through the process again. I really hope this helps. This helped anybody. Please, if you have any questions, you can just let me know. Thank you.
Apart from Lois, is there anybody who has succeeded in creating an article on Wikipedia?
Yeah, I've created mine.
You've created 9 articles?
Mine.
Oh, okay. Could you please share a link on the chat page? Right. Thank you, Kukwa. Wow, Kukwa, that was fast.
What was fast?
Like you grasped the concept like really fast.
I do a lot of reading on Wikipedia, that's why.
Okay, cool. Lois, your article also looks good. It's just that there are some words that you've capitalized which don't need to be capitalized. I'm editing it at the moment. All right. Is everybody back from the break? Oh, please give me a thumbs up if you're back from your break. Okay, I see Akwesi is back. Mohammed is back. Elton is also back. Kukwa is back. Rashid is also back. All right, over to you, Harriet. So the next session is about Wikidata, which is a sister project of Wikipedia. But Wikidata is much simpler to edit and interact with, unlike Wikipedia, where you have to create sentences and paragraphs of information. So over to you, Harriet.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all, and good job with your articles. We're going to delve straight to Wikidata as Zita mentioned. Okay. So I'm Harriet once again, and a Wikipedia volunteer, and I'm also an amateur photographer. I developed that passion when I joined Wikipedia. We've had the opportunity to organize contests on photography and on museums in Ghana and so many other contests. So I developed the passion for photography from there. And I'm also currently the communications lead for Global Open Initiative Foundation. Yes. I'm here to introduce you to Wikidata, as Zita has mentioned. And I would like to draw your attention to two problems that existed before Wikidata came in. So there was this problem of dated data, and I would explain this so you could understand me better. On Wikipedia, we realized that there are so many informations over there, and I realized you just created articles on MP. And these MPs normally have a tenure of office. So it's likely that in the next 4 years, Patrick Banner might not be the MP for his current constituency. In view of this, there'll be a need to change the date or to change the article to reflect his tenure of office. But you'll find that on Wikipedia, there are times where some of these articles are not changed to reflect their tenure of office. So you have data that is what's outdated. We could give another example of the population of a particular country, let's say Ghana. So I think the last time a census was organized, I can't remember the date though, but you realize that from that particular date till now, there've been an addition to the number of people in Ghana here. And so if you should visit the current page of Ghana and read the population there, it's going to be different. And so that data is also what's outdated. It doesn't have the current data or the current figures in relation to that particular article. So this is the problem with Wikipedia. And there's another problem where we have lacking triggers, where there's nothing to trigger someone to change this particular figure on an article. So on Wikipedia, as Ima mentioned, you have it's written in different languages. So you can have it in French. Zita mentioned it's written in Chi. You can have it in Dagbani. So if you have an article on Patrick Bano in French and in Chi Wikipedia and in English Wikipedia and in Polish Wikipedia and so many other languages that you can find on Wikipedia, you realize that if you change the date to reflect his current time, if you don't send an email or if no one in another country is reading about Patrick Bano, then the information you find on Patrick Bano on Chi Wikipedia or French Wikipedia is going to remain the same. So there's no kind of trigger to encourage volunteers to change the date or to change the figure to reflect that particular article. And also there's a problem of repetitive work, in the sense that if we have to change the particular information or tenure of office on Patrick Bano, then Zita somewhere would have to change it to Chi. Ibrahim would have to change it to reflect the Dagbani article, and Kukwa out there would also have to change it in the English Wikipedia article. So there's going to be a repetitive work of changing this particular tag of the tenure of office. And the second problem here is inflexible ways of lateral queries of knowledge. We are well aware that data is very important. In fact, it's more or less like the oil in our world today. And out of data, we are able to make some strategic decisions and all. And we can only make use of data when we query them to find information about a particular thing. So we are working on MPs right now. And let's say we want to research about the MPs from the northern part of Ghana, or MPs belonging to the MPP who are Christians. to make a query like this, though there are informations like that on Wikipedia, it's very difficult to make a query because if you do not put it on under a category, as Ima showed later on, it'll be very difficult to draw out a query to find out the number of people who are MPPs, who are Christians, or the number of Northern Member of Parliament in the country. So you have the information, tons of information there, but to query it, to make meaning of the information, it's quite difficult. So this brought rise to Wikidata. And Wikidata, you would say, what is it? It's an edible central storage for structured and linked data on a wiki under a free license. That's what Wikidata is. It solves the two problems that we had with Wikipedia. And there's more to it. Central storage in the sense that everything you find under Wikidata, it's in a particular field. So you don't have to go searching to find a particular information. Let's give a scenario of a basket in which every other fruit can be found in. So if you are looking for fruits belonging to berries, you find it in that same basket. And then if you look for fruits which are drupes, you can find it in that same basket there. So it's a central storage. And then this information on that inside that central storage is structured. So whatever piece of information you find, okay, you can manage with it. Like you'll be able to understand it, it's structured, it's organized for you to make meaning out of that particular information you find in that central storage. And this piece of information is linked to other data. So I'll give the example of a human being, okay? And you mentioned the name or the country in which this person is a citizen of. When you go on Wikidata, you realize that this person is belonging to a particular class of animals, which is what Homo sapien. And then this person will, belongs to a country, which could be a Ghana or Ivory Coast. So this particular information is linked to the country in which the person is coming from. So nothing stands on its own on Wikipedia, on Wikidata. This is a further explanation of Wikidata. It's a free and open-based knowledge base that can be read and edited by both humans and machines. And this can be read by machines because everything you find on Wikidata has a unique identifier, which is a letter, an alphabet, and then numbers attached to it. I'll show you more of that in the upcoming slides. Wikidata also provides support to many other sites and services beyond just Wikimedia projects. And I'll be showing you more of that as well. Just take note of this. So when you go on Wikidata, this is a typical example of things you'll be seeing here. I made mention of a human being here who is Douglas Adams. And you find a number here in brackets, that's Q42. And this is how machines read at Douglas Adams. To the human eye, Douglas Adams is just the text here, but to the machine, we find Q42. And this is generated automatically. And this is what will be identified as Douglas Adams, an English writer and humorist. So wherever you find Douglas Adams on Wikidata, with Q42, you're going to find that he's an English writer and humorist. And these are some of the things you should take note of when you go on Wikidata. We have the label, that is whatever the person is. So you can write on so many things here, but the label and the description will give you an idea of whatever you're talking about. And we have the identifier, like I said earlier on, which is machine, to enable the robots or machines to read this. And we have statements, that's the green box you see here. I would liken the statements to paragraphs in our essays when we are writing. We want to write about myself, and then a paragraph talks about something about you. So in this case, Douglas is the whole picture, myself, and a particular paragraph might be talking about his hobbies. So here, a statement talks about a particular thing about this person, or it could be further broken down to talk about things about Douglas Adams. And then we have properties and we have values. All this together will give you an idea as to who Douglas Adams is. I would like you to pause here and then take notice of something on Wikipedia here. Okay. So we have here an article about Douglas Adams. We just saw that of Wikidata, and this is Wikipedia. And it has the same thing here, an author, a screenwriter, essayist, humorist, satirist, and dramatist. So this all talks about Douglas Adams, but you find here, there's so many texts, there's no number, a unique identity to Douglas Adams. So you could find that there are so many Douglas Adams. It could be possible that we'll have hundreds of people named Douglas Adams. But if you don't have a picture to tell you this, and if you don't find maybe some of the occupations being different, then it's very hard for you to make sense of who this particular Douglas Adams is. You understand? So with Wikipedia, it's more of text and all, and they are somehow not linked. But on Wikidata, as you find here, you realize that whatever information you find is linked to something, and so that you can make meaning out of it. And this is the Wikidata view of Douglas Adams here. We have a number in brackets, and we also have an image of Douglas Adams. And you can find more information about Douglas Adams in this same page. It talks about his sex or gender, his country of citizenship, the language, his native language and all. And you can find that here as well, but in a text form. But you realize that all these are linked. So when you talk about the sex and gender of this person, he's a male, it's in blue. It's linked to whatever is regarded as male or country of citizenship.
So if I get what you're saying correctly, Harriet, what you're saying is that Wikidata tries to break down each piece of information down to the little bit. In this, so it's just pieces of information describing the item or the person.
Yes.
And like you said, these pieces of information are stored in containers that have labels, so that it will be easier for the computer algorithm to locate each piece of information, and that makes it, that makes Wikidata easy to query.
Yes. I don't know if you can see my screen. Looking at the example of a Wikidata item. Is that all we are seeing? Douglas Adams, and then okay. So this is how structured data on Wikidata looks like. And I earlier on mentioned that a statement can be likened as a paragraph. And we have here a statement comprises of an item, a property, and then a value. This is what it is. And you ask yourself, what is an item? An item is anything you can think about. It could be a book, it could be a library, it could be a country, it could be an album, a music album. So there are so many things that you can think about with regards to an item. And we also talk about a property. And a property is a specific single kind of data relevant to this item. So if we talk about a book, then what becomes a property of a book is probably the publisher, because you would want to know the publisher or the author of a book. So in this case, the item becomes what? A book, the name of the book. And then the property is probably the author who authored this book or who published this book. And then we could talk about the value. So in this case, the value is what you write in response to the property. So we talked about the author. If it's Elizabeth Gilbert, you write Elizabeth Gilbert. That becomes the value for the property. If you write, it was published in Ghana, then that becomes the value for the property and where it was published. Let's move on to some more examples of statements and properties and values so that you can have a better understanding. So an item is described by a series of statements, as you can see, each asserting a single datum or fact about it. Oh, I was asking, I thought you were, okay, so let me and then try again. So as I mentioned earlier on, an item describes, okay. A property is a specific kind of information like a field in a form, and it's used to describe what the data means. All these are represented by numbers. As I mentioned earlier on, when we found Douglas Adams to have the Q42, unique to Douglas Adams, who is what, a humorist. Please hold on me, I think. Okay, so let's move on to some more examples so that you can have an idea. So we talk about an item about a person, and we'll say it would have statements about the name, the date of birth or death of the person, place of birth or death of the person, citizenship. So under each of this particular item, we have the citizenship where you would write the country, and that becomes the value for the property citizenship. So there's a better explanation of what we are talking about here. We have a statement about a human being, and we gave the example Douglas Adams. And we have here Douglas being a human being. So mostly human beings are represented by the instance of what exactly is this particular thing that you are talking about. You understand? And then the property you can talk about is the gender. And whatever you write, as I said earlier on, in response to the property is the value. So we have here a human being, and then the property here becomes citizenship, and then the value becomes Ghanaian. And I mentioned earlier on that everything you find on Wikipedia has a unique number attached to it. And I'll make mention of Douglas Adams having the Q42. So on Wikidata, when you find human, you find the number Q5. And this is unique to human as in the Homo sapien. And then Q290 as gender. You might find that there could be an album, a music album called Human. And you realize that it wouldn't be Q5, but it would have a different unique identifier. So that if you are conducting a query for humans or music album titled Humans, you'll be able to get that particular information that you need. And wherever on Wikidata you type male, you're going to find Q651097 as male in response to gender. And this is further explained with the citizenship with the number P27, and then Ghana as Q117. So having said that, I would like to ask if anyone can give me an example of an item and then probably a property and then a value to show that you understand what I'm saying at the moment. Would anyone like to give an example? Okay, so let's talk about when we mention Mount Everest, we have this idea, it's an item. What item is it? It's a mountain, okay? But what property comes to mind when you talk about Mount Everest? You talk about the fact that it's the highest mountain, I guess. And then if you mention the highest mountain, you could also add a value. The value is what shows it's the highest mountain. That's the, is it the height above sea level or below sea level? Yes, and also we can also make mention of we could talk about
Yeah, I think the demonstration session would clarify actually what you're talking about.
So you would ask yourself, why numbers, and why is it that Wikidata is using more of numbers? Though to the human eye, we saw Douglas with the text Douglas, but to be able to generate these queries and also make things easier, why numbers? And then here are my reasons. Labels are ambiguous and sometimes redundant. So we can talk about London, for example. When show this question to you as what is London, it's easier for you to say London is the capital of this or London is this. But you realize that there are so many things with regards to London. You could talk about London being a family name for someone, somewhere. It could be a personal name for someone. It could be a movie company. It could be a music album for someone. It could be a book for someone. So because of these labels, it's very advisable to use numbers, which have what a unique identity to it. So that's why we have kill 5 being human. And there's no way you're going to see human being an album with the number kill 5. And also, why do we use numbers? Language neutral. Wherever you go, you realize that when we say one has the same value in every other language, being one. And we realize that on English Wikipedia, it's written in so many other languages. And the problem where you would have to change from one language to another, where we have the repetitive work. When you come to Wikidata, because it's represented by numbers and numbers have a particular value attached to it, it's very easy for the robots to use these numbers and not these languages that we are talking about. Though you can find other languages on Wikidata, whatever it is you see is a number. You understand? So it's very easy for you to query the system because it's only dealing with numbers, though you will see it as human text, but it's only dealing with numbers. And more importantly, because no one speaks what's English, but we all understand the value of what one is. And that's why it's easier for us to use numbers. And also, numbers are robot friendly. We talk about moving to the digital system and all those things. This all, it's everything about what's making it easier for people. And robots mostly run on numbers. So that's why we use numbers on Wikidata. So you'd ask yourself, what are the benefits of Wikidata? Why should I get involved with Wikidata, or why should I bother about Wikidata? For those of us as librarians and publishing industries or those into research and all those stuff, it's very easy for you to conduct batch uploads of informations with Wikidata. So you have tons of information there and you want to gather them or put them online there or make them available to other people. It's very easy for you to do that with Wikidata. And also to make queries. And there's a tool we use on Wikidata is Sparkle. So you're able to make queries concerning a particular topic of interest. And you're also able to use this to access other knowledge bases, so identifiers. And I'm going to show you this tool now. And also there's this game, the Wikidata game, where you can play and get to know other things as well. So these are some of the benefits of using Wikidata or getting to know about Wikidata. So let me demonstrate this queries for you so that you can have an idea of it. Okay, so with the identifiers, we find here on Douglas Adams' page here with Q42, a list of identifiers below. When you scroll down the page of identifiers here. So in this instance, when you want to make a research or a query on Wikidata, you're not just limited to what you find on Wikidata, but wherever you find Douglas Adams, you could have them drawing information from there. So we have the VIAFID, and for those who might not know, VIAFID is a virtual international authority file. Okay. And we also have this ISNI, as you can find on Douglas's page here. And it links you to so many other places where you can find information. And that's one good thing about what's having querying Wikidata. You're not just limited to the information you find on Wikidata, but you are linked to other sources out there. I think I've mistakenly closed one of the queries, but I would like us to delve on to creating a Wikidata item. Hold on, please.
At this point, does anybody have any question or concerns before we move to the demonstration session of how to create items on Wikidata?
Yeah. Okay, if there are no questions, then we could go straight to exploring Wikidata here. So before we begin exploring Wikidata, I would like you to note this. Whatever account you've created with Wikipedia is the same information you need to log into Wikidata. So you don't need to create another account for Wikidata. So far as you've created an account for Wikipedia, it's the same login information that you need for all other platforms on Wiki and on all other platforms for the Wikimedia projects. Okay. So to begin, you first have to visit wikidata.org. So I would like you all to search for www.wikidata.org.
Sorry to cut in there, Harriet. But the articles that you all created on Wikipedia, you would have to create Wikidata items for them on Wikidata. So please follow along as Harriet demonstrates how to do that.
So if you visited the page wikidata.org, you realize that you'll be seeing exactly what I'm seeing here, which is quite similar to the Wikipedia page. I believe we are all on the same page now. So we are going to go straight to logging in. And like I said, for those who have already created an account with Wikipedia, you don't need to create an account again. All you have to do is click on login. And since we are already logged in, it sometimes automatically picks. You log in by inputting your username and then your password. So, I believe we are all logged in here. You should find your name in red if you are a new user on the right-hand side. And probably a welcome notes in any of this. So welcome to Wikidata, the free knowledge base with so data items that anyone can edit here. We are going to go straight to, I would like each and every one of us to search for the name of the MP you worked on. So for Ima, because I'm going to create the item for Ima, I'm going to search for Patrick Bano. So in the search button on the right-hand side up, you have to search for the MP you worked on. And please pay attention to the spelling of whoever you worked on. You shouldn't change the name, the spelling, and interchange the upper cases and the lower cases as well. So Patrick Bano. So I have here an option here, Patrick Bano. And you realize that an item has already been created for Patrick Bano here. And Patrick Bano was just the article that Ima created on Wikipedia. And within some few minutes, someone has already created an item for Patrick Bano. I'm using the word item because on Wikidata, it becomes an item. Whatever you talk about, it becomes an item. And on Wikipedia, it's an article. So, and you find attached to Patrick Bano's name a unique identifier here. That's Q10 40 54 11 2. Okay, so since an item has already been created for Patrick Bano, I'm going to go ahead and then select any other name on the list to create an item for. But for those of you who have, I don't know if anyone is facing the same problem as I am. Has someone created an item for your MP that you just created?
No, no one has created an item for Nelson. True.
Okay. So after searching for Patrick Bano, you should find a list of options there. Just kindly go through and see if anyone fits the description that you have on. So
I think you would have to pick another name to work on that.
So I'm just going straight to that list to pick. I think I'll just go with, let's see. I'm going to go with, I don't know if anyone chose Isaac Yao Poku.
Nobody has chosen that.
Okay, so I'm going to choose Isaac Yao Poku. So I'm going to search for Isaac Yao Poku. And I'm told no match was found. And I'm very careful with the spelling and then arrangement of the names here. So Isaac Yao Poku, and then I'm going to click on the search button. So you find here, there was no results matching the query. You may create a new item for Isaac Yao Poku. On the other hand, if there were any other Isaac Yao Poku on Wikidata, you would have found suggestions below, and you would have to read through to see that none of the descriptions matches whoever you are writing about. Okay, so I don't find any suggestions, so I'm just going to go straight to Isaac Yao, creating Isaac Yao Poku. By clicking on the link here, create a new item for Isaac Yao Opoku. On the other hand, you can look on the left-hand side of your page, and the fourth item on the list is create a new item. So you can either select create a new item on the left-hand side, or go straight to, you may create a new item for Isaac Opoku. Yeah. So I'm going to click on create a new item. So we have here create a new item for Isaac Opoku. And we have above here the language, that is the language in which I'm going to be writing in. So if you are fluent in French, feel free to change the language in which you want to write in and choose them. So you find here Ewe language, English, and all. You could just change it and then write it, whatever language you want. And the label here, as we found earlier on, Douglas had his own label. So here we have the label Isaac Opoku and a description. So what am I talking about, or what is Isaac Opoku? Who is he? So he's a Ghanaian politician. So we could write the same description for a Ghanaian politician. So for the aliases and then types, for this particular section, if you have a name that the person is known by, you could write that here. So for instance, we all know this musician, Shatta Wale, but he has his real name that you could write there. So if you're going to write the label, let's say he's Michael Odro, that becomes his label. But whatever name he's noted with, you could write there. A typical example is General Asedu Nketia. So let's say we are writing an item about Asedu Nketia. The label becomes Asedu Nketia, but we know that he has another name that he's noted by. And mind you, this name is a name that cuts across. It's like, I want to say he's accepted it, or he's known by that name. If you address him with that name, I don't think he's offended with it. So those are some of the names you can write there. It's not a name that probably the person finds offensive that you write there. Okay, and after writing this, you can go ahead to create a new item. So you click on create. And you realize that this has generated a particular unique number for Isaac Opoku, who is a Ghanaian politician. So wherever you find Isaac Opoku, you should see this number. You can choose to enter this number on your search button, and it will generate Isaac Opoku for you. That's how it is. And if you are fluent in Akan, or you could write Akan, you could just add that the label here, what we are talking about, below it. Realize that if you check on this, we have no other information added to it. There's nothing that says much about Isaac Opoku. So we are going to add statements. And like I said, statements are like paragraphs, could be likened with paragraphs. So to add statements, we click on add statements on the right-hand side below the description. I believe everyone can see this link here. You click on add statement. And the first statement you want to add is for us to have a better understanding of who Isaac Opoku is. We want to add the instance of, and as I mentioned earlier on, the instance of give us an idea of whatever we are talking about. So is this an animal? Is it a book or object or something else? So in this case, we are going to talk about the instance of here, and this is the property. And whatever we are going to write in response to this particular thing becomes what? The value. So the instance of what? A human being. He's not an animal, he's a human being. And you realize that there are other options for human settlements, community of any size. We are not talking about that, but we are talking about human, being Homo sapien. So we are going to select this particular option. And after that, we click on publish. Publish is on the right-hand side. So if you don't select any option, you realize that it wouldn't be enabled for you. So we click on publish. And just like that, we've created a paragraph for Ima, which tells us that he's a human being. And another thing we can talk more about is Isaac Yaopoku. We are in a world whereby you can have someone named Yaopoku and be a female. So you want to give a better explanation as to who this person is. So we are going to add a statement which talks about the gender of this person. So in this case, it becomes sex or gender. And you realize that it's automatically generated for you. Some of the things you can add to a particular item on Wikidata, like occupation, given name, date of birth, country of citizenship. So this is how you can develop more on Isaac Opoku's item. So we are going to click on sex or.
Harriet, I have a question.
Sex or. Okay.
How did you know which properties to add or which statements to add to the Wikidata item?
How? Okay, so in this case, we are talking about a human being, okay? And based on the information I have here, it shows that this person is what? Oh, sorry, this is a different person. So as you can see here, this is a male person, and then we have every other information pertaining to him on his page from this credible site, which is the Parliament of Ghana website.
Get a question well. So from the looks of things, you are adding statements that already have, items on Wikidata. So how did you know which statements to add for this human being that you're creating an item for? Or let's say if I want to create an item about an architectural building, how do I know which properties or statement to add to that Wikidata item?
Okay, so it's basically anything you can describe about this architectural building or item you're talking about. So like I mentioned earlier on with the book, we talk about a book, and what can you describe about a book? It's about the publisher, the author. You can talk about some of the pages, the length in pages. So with the architectural building, like an example you give, like National Theatre, you want to talk about the capacity, the date in which it was built, and anything that you can describe, some of the events that are held in that particular architectural building. So statements give a description about a particular item.
So do you think it would be a good idea to probably search if there are already existing articles about what I'm trying to create an item about, so that I can see what statement has been added to that item and also add those statements?
Yes, you
so
can.
let's say if I'm creating an item about a politician, I would have to search for popular politicians like Asiedu Nketia to see if he has a Wikidata item, and then look at the statement that was added to his Wikidata item and add that to the politician that I'm also working on.
So to describe what Zita is saying, we have here Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, and who is also an MP. And you can find some of the statements here: instance of human, sex or gender, country of citizenship, date of birth, place of birth. These are some of the things you could add to the particular item you are working on right now. And you should add the information pertaining to that particular MP. So if you find here 5th April 1982, the particular MP you are working on should have his own date of birth, and that is what you should write in response to that. So we are going ahead to add another statement of the sex or gender. And in this case, he's a male. So we are going to click on male here, knowing very well that this is supposed to be used in sex or gender. And you find here P21. P generally stands for property. And then 21 is the unique number attached to property. So wherever you find P21, it stands for male here, or with regards to gender. So we are going to click on publish. And what we can add based on the information I have here is his date of birth and he was born on the 27th August 1957. So we can go ahead and add another statement, which is date of birth, as you can see here. Immediately you begin typing, you'll find that the options will pop up for you. So if you have an idea of whatever statement you want to write, just begin typing in the box, the property box, and it will generate it for you. So date of birth here, and it's 27th August 1957. Okay. Oh, how do I get this page? So 1957. And immediately the date is correct, the format, everything is intact. You see that the publish button is enabled, so I can click on publish. And you realize that I published this and I have an icon popping up with some suggestions, and it says citation needed constraints. Statements for date of birth should have at least one reference. And this is because this particular age can be disputed. So to show that I have a credible source for this particular information, I have to reference it. So I'm going to reference it by adding a reference. So you click on add reference in that same box here. And then you have options here, stated in, retrieved, named as, reference URL. So stated in mostly refers to any document or a particular place where you found that information. So you can click on that option. Or I can use a reference URL, that's an internet source where I got that information from. So I'm going to use this for this particular example, reference URL. And that's the box that has been generated for me to input the URL, the information. So what you are going to do is copy the link above the page where you got the information from. And you're going to input that in the search, in the box there. So I just copied and pasted and click on publish. So a reference has been added. So whoever wants to know more can just visit this link. Okay, so we are going to add another statement here and talk about his occupation. And what else can we talk about? He's a politician, so we could add that he's a politician. So we click on politician and publish. We noticed that some of these politicians have other careers associated to them. So we can add more information to this particular item based on whatever we find on his article. So we realize that he's what, executive director here. And there's not much with regards to his career, but for some of you, you might find that whoever you're working on is a lawyer or a musician, aside being a politician. So what you do is you can add value to this particular statement. If the person is a footballer, you can add more to it. If the person is a lecturer, you can add more by just typing, and after that, publishing it. So if it's a lecturer, you can just type lecturer. You select it's a lecturer before you publish. If you add a wrong occupation, you can just click on the cancel button and that will be all. We can add more information to this. Whatever information we can add, we can compare to Patrick Bano here. And we realize that the person added that he's a member of a parliament, okay? So let's just see what we have for Patrick Bano. We realized that
I don't think we'll have time to add all the details about
so let's just add an important information there before we end this. Aside his occupation, we have his country of citizenship we could add to, which is very important. So country of citizenship, which is Ghana. We have so many Ghana here, but you have to read the description. So Ghana, and then publish. And then last thing we could do is add his the political party which he belongs to, because it's very important. So we can add member of political party. That's the political party which he belongs to. And we find here that he's a member of the New Patriotic Party. So we are going to add that to his New Patriotic Party. And while you're typing it, you realize that there are options there for you. So New Patriotic Party, we find, and then we can publish that. We can use that same reference for this particular item, or if you found it anywhere on Ghana Web, My Joy Online, you can feel free to add that too. So I'm going to use that same reference, New Patriotic Party. Another thing we can add is his religion. I don't know if it was added here, his religion, he's a Christian. So we can add that as well to his article, his item, sorry. So religion. Christian. A person who adheres to Christianity or something, so Christian. Then we are going to click on publish. So I need to add a reference. Mostly you pay attention to some of these signs that pop up. It gives you an idea. So citation needed. So I'm going to add a reference to it. That's a reference URL. And then I'm going to publish. So you realize that we've added statements that talk about Isaac Yao Opoku. And if you should visit Isaac Yao Opoku's Wikipedia page, if it's created, you find that the information you find on Isaac Yao Opoku is what you find here on Wikidata, which is very much easy for you to make sense of and read and also query. When I was talking about Wikidata and making queries, I asked that, can you also query the system to find out the number of MPs who are Christians who belongs to the New Patriotic Party? With what we've done right now, we realize that if you query the system, we'll be able to find Isaac Opoku amongst the people that the system is going to generate, because he's a Christian here, as we've added, and he's a member of the New Patriotic Party, as we've added. What I would like all of us to do finally is to add a place where we think he's located. And I think he's located in the list of let me just get that quickly. The list of MPs elected in the 2020 Ghanaian general election. So we can add that here. Let me just copy that quickly.
Harriet, I think what that section is for is to link his Wikipedia article, not what you're putting there. So if he has
Okay.
an article on Wikipedia, that's the link that should be.
Okay. But I also thought you could add places where you can find him. Okay, so that's it for creating an item on Wikidata. If there are no questions or clarifications, then I'd like to say thank you, and I hope you continue to edit on Wikidata.
Thank you, Harriet, for that wonderful presentation. At this juncture, I would like to draw the meeting to a close. I would like.
Let's open the floor for some more questions.
Okay.
Please, I have a question. So after doing all she's explained, is that it? Is there anywhere to click publish, or it's already published because he doesn't exist in their system?
Okay, so after publishing, like we did for all the other statements, the whole complete item on whoever you worked on is published. And if you should search for that particular person, you find that whatever you did is already existing.
Oh, okay.
So that's how easy it is to create items on what Wikidata.
Is there any other question? Okay.
Before we go, I would like to show you, take you through the interface of Wikipedia a little bit. Right. So, can you all see my screen?
I can.
All right. So I have this tool icon to my right, where you can see a green mark and some delete and all that, because I'm a reviewer. I review articles that are newly created. Now, on the top right corner of your screen, you see your usernames in red, and your username is in red because you haven't created your user page. In order to do that, all you have to do is click the link, and then it would lead you to a space where you can type some text about yourself and what you do. The main purpose of the user page is having a page on Facebook, your profile page. When other editors see what you've written about yourself and what you're interested in, they can contact you for possible collaborations or you know any corrections regarding an article that you have made. You also have your talk page. Your talk page is where you'll be receiving messages from other editors and project that you signed up for. So I contributed, a user sent me a banster for my contributions. I also get updates about pages that we are patrolling on Wikipedia. So to the talk page, before the talk page, you see some two icons, the notification icon and another message icon. These notifications show messages or edits that have been made to your article. So if you created an article and somebody made an edit or made a major contribution to it, you're going to get an alert to that. And we have the sandbox. The sandbox is where you can, play, as the name insinuates. If you are creating an article for the first time, it's advisable to create it in your sandbox. That way, it wouldn't get deleted immediately. There are errors or um, issues with your article. But now that draft space has been enabled for most newbies, I think that also helps. So the sandbox, I don't really use a sandbox much. And you have the contributions tab. where you can see all the contributions that you've made since you started editing on Wikipedia. So these links are my recent contributions to articles and pages on Wikipedia. To view your contributions on other projects of the Wikimedia Foundation, you can click Account, and then it will take you to this page. And so you can see that on Wikimedia Commons, which is the sister project of Wikipedia, and it's a platform for media files, videos, images, and audio files. So I have made about 3,135 contributions on Wikimedia Commons and 9,714 contributions on English Wikipedia. And I think there's Meta. I've also made contributions on Wikidata, which is about over 100,000 contributions on Wikidata. You can also check the articles you've created. So there's this link down here. If you click articles created, it will take you to the list of articles that you've created so far on Wikipedia. And let me warn you, there are some of your articles that might get deleted if you don't adhere to the principles and guidelines. So far, I think I've created about 215 articles on English Wikipedia. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about the interface of Wikipedia. There's so much more that you can do, and I encourage you all to keep exploring. And when you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be very happy to help. So some of you might ask, now that we are done with the training, what next? So with Accra Archive, we hope to help you upload the data that you have on Wikidata, and we would have to train you on batch uploading. So the next thing is for us to reach out to you, or you can also reach out to us to, discuss and probably plan the future projects together. For other individuals representing various institutions, I think that goes for you as well. We would have to help you organize Wikipedia and Wikidata trainings in your various institutions. So we would be reaching out to schedule meetings and to discuss what the way forward is. Right, so at this juncture, Ima, is there anything I forgot to mention? I think I'll hand over to you now.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Zita. So we'd want to draw the meeting to a close at this juncture. We want to thank everybody on the call for your time and also for your patience. And we'd want to encourage you guys to try and continue editing on Wikipedia and Wikidata. This shouldn't be the first and the last time. Harriet, is there anything you'd want to add?
Oh, no, nothing much. Just thank you to everyone who said already.
Yeah, and we'll be reaching out to send data allowance to all on the call. Just something small to reimburse your time and your internet. Not your time, but your internet actually.
Okay.
Kukwa, I don't know how we can. Kukwa, I don't know how we can send you data allowance.
Oh, it's okay. I'll pay mine, carry mine forward. But yeah, thank you very much. We'll be in touch later to discuss, because I think we said ours will involve a lot of media. So that's probably like Wikimedia stuff, but we'll be in touch later. But this was really useful and helpful for us. Thank you. So are you the only one that edits for, not edits, reviews for Ghana?
No, there are other editors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so when someone
all of
that
us
page, it comes to you to review.
Yeah, and it doesn't come directly to me. It's like we have that role of reviewing, so it goes to a place. So when you go there, you check all the incoming articles, and then you just.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Thanks.
So it's not like you are assigned an article to review.
Okay, so yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right. Is there any other question or concerns that anybody would like to bring up? I do hope this session was very useful to everyone.
Yeah. I think what I want to ask is the articles we tried creating on this training. If I'm done with my, actually I've just started. I've not finished it yet. How do I contact you to just have a look at it to see if I'm on the right path?
Are you on WhatsApp?
Yes, please.
Okay. So we have this WhatsApp group page. I think we would have to create a group page for each of the institutions so that we can be collaborating on that page much easier.
Okay. Thank
but
you.
we could just take your contact now so that.
Okay. So can I just call the number? 0242.
Hey.
Hold on, please don't do it.
Okay.
We are live on YouTube. If you want, if you want everybody to know your contact.
Thank you.